Okay, let's see that. Stop.
What's good with everybody, man? You a slave to the mind. Let's get it. These videos is different when I'm actually putting some emotion into it, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys that I'm mad right now or that I'm angry or I'm feeling any type of way, because that would be completely contradicting this whole video. Okay, so I'm not mad, but I'm mad. So let's get it. Before we get into this video completely, I just want to say this one thing. You could do anything that you want to do. I don't know if anybody ever told you that in your life, but I know it's people who never been told that in their whole life. So you watching this video right now, you can do whatever you want to do, no matter what it is, woman or man. Doesn't matter where you came up. You got to stop limiting yourself. Oh, you came up in a bad spot, so you can't do this, but you limiting yourself. That goes along with this video. You a slave to the mind, a slave to the thoughts. You can't do something because you told yourself you can't do it. It's you versus you at all times. But let's go, come on. You can't be a slave to anybody or anything without first being a slave to your own mind. So that should show you the power of the mind. If you're a slave to your mind, you could be a slave to anybody, to anything. Because you a slave to the thoughts up here. You ever went through the whole day, and then at the end of the day you like, damn, this was a bad day for me. But you don't even realize that the only reason it was a bad day is because you was a slave to the mind. And even when you sitting back, reminiscing about how bad your day was, you're still in the mind. You're still being controlled by them thoughts. You be thinking thoughts that's not even your thoughts. You think them all the time too. You got to stop letting your thoughts control you. Your thoughts control you on a day-to-day. If you want to argue with that, let me ask you this. Have you ever had an experience to where you weren't thinking? Because if you had an experience to where you had no thoughts in your head, or at least you was not affected by them thoughts or joined with them thoughts, like you and your thoughts wasn't together as one. If you ever had a time or an experience to where you had no thoughts in your head, or you weren't associating with them thoughts in your head, it's a feeling that just sticks with you because it's pure peace. Because you don't need to think. You don't have any thoughts. You're letting them pass by. And then you come to realize, damn, it's really a difference between how I've been living my whole life and how my true self is. And to get to that point, all you got to do is become aware of your thoughts. And keep in mind, I'm not saying any of this stuff is easy, because it's not. If it was easy, I wouldn't be making this video. Alright, so let me bring this up real quick. So if you work out, right? Say you're working out, okay? You doing your workout and your set intention is to do 30 push-ups, okay? But you stopped at 25. You stopped at 25 push-ups, but your intended amount was 30. You was set an intention, okay, I'm going to drop down and do 30 push-ups, okay? So you ended up only doing 25. Let me ask you this. Why did you only do 25 push-ups? There's a lot of answers that people could give you. You only did 25 push-ups because you got tired, right? Have you ever really asked somebody that they supposed to do 30, but they only do 25? People usually don't say, why did you stop? People usually just let it pass by. Okay, he did 25 push-ups. He just weaker than me. Nah, how about next time somebody fails? How about next time you sit there and you ask them, why did you stop at 25 instead of 30? That question don't come up a lot, right? The simple answer to why you stopped at 25 is because you're a slave to the mind. You're a slave to the thoughts. Oh, you want number 24, but you're convinced that you're tired. So I'm not asking you to take me through every single step as to why you stopped at 25. I'm simply asking you, are you aware that If you was not in the mind, if you was not a slave to them thoughts, if you didn't let them thoughts control you, then you would have not stopped at 25. You would have done 30. You would have done 30. But you're a slave to the thoughts. And it's not your fault. But we'll get into that later. So let's take it back. How did we all become a slave to the mind, a slave to our thoughts? Me personally, it all started when we started to say, these are my thoughts. My day was effed up. My day was bad. This shit happened to me. No. They're not your thoughts. They're not. No matter what you want to say. Everything is a perception. But just hear my perspective real quick on this, okay? How could they be your thoughts if you wasn't born with them? You 1 day old, you really think you was thinking about why a girl didn't text you back? You really think you was thinking about death? You was scared of death? So main thing about that is you gotta stop associating with them thoughts in the mind. It's not my thoughts. You didn't have a bad day. Your thoughts convinced you that you was with them, which led you to saying, damn, I had a bad day today. There's a difference between your thoughts and you. You gotta see the difference. You have to. Another reason as to how we became a slave to the mind and to our thoughts is because you pushed it all away. But the mind never forgot about it. So if you have a negative feeling within you, you push that negative feeling away and start to get distracted by something else. You never actually faced that feeling. You never really faced that feeling and really thought and really confronted it and said, this feeling is not shit to me. This feeling that I'm experiencing right now is not me. Because I'm able to be aware that I'm feeling this. And that's the true me. But instead of doing that, you pushed it away. Oh, you went to go F with girl, right? You went to go do this. You went to go play basketball and stuff. You went to go play football, okay? You did everything except confront it. Not saying it's bad because once again, it's not your fault. So you can't expect to push that negative feeling away and not it be pushed away from the mind. You can't push that away. It's always going to come back up to you. To you. You is always going to come back up to you. It never gets pushed away or let go of the mind. The mind always knows that negative feeling that you had. But you just went to go distracted with something else. That could possibly lead to another negative feeling that you just push away. You got to start confronting them, you know? So the last thing that I want to get into in this video. You was born, okay? And you was not able to get enough experience with only you. You had a family. Now I'm not saying that's bad, but all I'm saying is you had a family that already was up. You had a family that went through the same cycle you're about to go to. You had a family that also did not get enough time to experience themselves. They didn't get enough time to experience the moment when they came into this moment. When they came into this life, they didn't have enough time to experience it on their own. So it's not their fault. It's not their parents' fault, but whose fault is it? You could take that for you. Be aware that you a slave to the mind so you could stop being a slave to the mind. Stay positive, stay powerful, Mo. Let's get it.